Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is comedy at its finest. It looks like Ubisoft is trying to take the hate off of Suicide Squad because apparently Skull and Bones, yes, remember that game Skull and Bones, that game that's supposed to be a quad A game, not a triple A game, not a double A game, a quad A game? Well, apparently it is being roasted off of the face of the internet because it is god awful, and it's just yet another example of what happens when we let developers promise us a better game 2 years from now, but release it 2 years early before it should be released to get that sweet dollar.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
So we have an article here from Fandom Pulse with a headline that reads, Ubisoft's Black Flag video game clone Skull and Bones crashes on rocky shores. Now, when I saw gameplay for this particular game, I kind of already knew that it was going to be trash because it looks like a lazier version of Assassin's Creed. Now, obviously, Ubisoft, owns Assassin's Creed or publishes Assassin's Creed, so they can have the ability to copy it without any issues, and nobody's going to say anything. But ultimately, you can name this something different, but we all fucking know this is Assassin's Creed, okay? We all know this is Assassin's Creed Black Flag, and you're basically doing that, but just in a live service online game. So let's get into this article, guys, from Fandom Pulse. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into the YouTube algorithm, guys. We're killing it lately. I really appreciate it. It says 2024 has had not the greatest start for video game industry. That's putting it very lightly. Rocksteady's disastrous launch of their controversial title Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League resulted in a divided fan base and a player count that has recently dipped under 1,000 players on Steam. Now, I just released a video about that today, so if you guys missed it, go check it out. I'm sure, the channel's getting a little messed with right now because we were growing way too quick and YouTube's like, what the hell's going on? But yes, ladies and gentlemen, Suicide Squad is less than 1,000 players on average on Steam. And I know a lot of people are going to be like, well, Steam's not the only numbers. I get that, but console numbers never saved Avengers, and is damn sure not going to save Suicide Squad either, no matter how much they don't want to admit it. It says a messy launch combined with woke messaging caused the title to see a massive refund request and has doomed it to the same fate as Marvel's Avengers, a game that essentially is dead and buried. Now Ubisoft, the legendary studio that brought us Assassin's Creed Black Flag, hopes to claim the title of Game of the Year with their live service swashbuckling adventure Skull and Bones. Sadly, critics and players alike can't quite figure out what Ubisoft could have spent 11 years developing. Are you kidding me? What did they do for 11 years? Like, this game, how is this an 11-year development game? Was it just literally in development hell for the entire time? Like, I don't understand how they could have spent so much time developing this, but hey, that's just me. 11 years on, during the development of Skull and Bones, while originally planned as a follow-up to the wildly popular Black Flag, it evolved into something that more closely resembles World of Warships instead. The lack of customization, inability to participate in melee combat, and imbalanced scaling has only amplified criticism of Ubisoft's choice to make Skull and Bones a live service game littered with microtransactions and season passes, all while charging a premium of $70. Now, this is my biggest issue right here, okay? You are having a game that is literally a subpar version of a single-player game that you released in the past, many years in the past, mind you, not recently, many years in the past. You came out with Assassin's Creed Black Flag. It was a superior game to Skull and Bones in every way. That was a single-player offering, and now you took that game, made it shittier because you can't have melee combat, only made it with ships, made the graphics worse, apparently, according to the videos that I've seen, and then on top of that, you made it a live service game littered with transactions that you are trying to get people to pay their dollar on, and then you also charge them $70, which is a single player price anyway. So you charge them premium price up front, and then you're trying to get them to give you as much money after the fact for a game that is literally all they have to do is go play Black Flag. If you want to have this experience, go play Assassin's Creed Black Flag. You'll be able to do more, actually have melee combat, and not have shitty graphics. I don't understand, man. How are we here? How are we here with gaming? You know why we're here? Because we're allowing it to happen. That's the issue. On an investor call, Ubisoft CEO Yves Guillemot, I don't know if I said that right, was pressed by investors who were worried by the decision to load Skull and Bones with microtransactions while also charging an exorbitant purchase price. He defended the decision to set the game's starting price at $70 rather than having the game to be free to play by making the absurd claim that this game was quadruple A. Now, this is what I was roasting in the beginning of the video. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, he actually sat there and he actually tried to say that Skull and Bones is a quad A game. How the hell is Skull and Bones quad? I don't even know how we even got to that definition of quad A, and Skull and Bones is definitely not going to be the game that's going to convince anyone that that's a quad A title. There's just no fucking way, ladies and gentlemen. Absolutely no way. He said, you will see Skull and Bones is a fully fledged game. It's a very big game, and we feel that people will really see how vast and complete that game is. It is a really full, triple, quadruple A game that will deliver in the long run. So this is a big problem right here, right? So he says contradictory things. He says it's a very big game. He says it's a very complete game, a very vast game. It's a triple, quadruple A game. Then he says it will deliver in the long run. That is literally an oxymoron, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way that you are going to deliver in the long run, which tells me it's not going to be ready at the beginning. It's not going to be a complete game in the beginning, and then tell people that it's a complete, vast, and open world game that's ready in the beginning. That just doesn't make any sense. But again, they're not exactly trying to tell you the full truth here, so it doesn't shock me that he basically tripped up on his words and said two completely opposite things in the same sentence. Then he says, unfortunately, the majority of people who have played this game would say otherwise. The game is currently sitting at a 3.2, wow, on Metacritic among 96 users. Most of the commentary on YouTube is largely negative, with creators telling their fans not to waste their money on this title. One of the critics was YouTuber Upper Echelon, who didn't hold back his admonition for the game's shortcomings. I don't relish the fact that this game is objectively bad, because I'm disappointed at what it could have been. I'm disappointed that the studio behind Assassin's Creed Black Flag, while everyone pointed at their fantastic prior example, saying more of that please, basically took 10 years to make something not even half as good, and I'm mostly just confused at how exactly we ended up here. Well, that was my question. How the hell did we spend 10 to 11 years of development when you had the setting already? You had Assassin's Creed Black Flag. All you had to do was just update it and add a couple of features and make it worth it when it comes to a live service game, but you couldn't even do that. You removed melee combat, which would have been a huge seller, in my opinion, for this game. You removed that completely, and then you made the experience with the ships even worse than what it was in Black Flag, which Black Flag was pretty damn good. So you had something that was pretty easy to adopt. You really just didn't have to do a lot of work here. I mean, not 10 years. Not 10 years of work. I feel like out of the 10 years of work that they did, 8 years was probably spent on how they could monetize it through microtransactions. That's basically what they did. Otherwise, what did you spend the 10 years on? None of this should have spent 10 years on this. This game is just not that kind of game that looks like a 10-year game. You know what I mean? Imagine a 10-year game and it comes out like this. Like, you guys are either really bad at your job, which, I mean, I'm not going to say that you are because I'm not a video game developer, but let's just say you probably are. You're either really bad at your job or you were extremely mismanaged, which is probably both. You probably are more so mismanaged than bad at your job. It says it just doesn't feel like it's a cohesive, intentional game. It's more like a haphazardly constructed final version of homework that was due at midnight, the final deadline, with no more rewrites allowed by the teacher, where the students got it done at 11:59 p.m. by smashing together all their previous versions to meet the length requirement without thinking about how they actually fit together. And that exact statement right here is precisely the best way to explain Skull and Bones. So hopefully you guys didn't waste your money on Skull and Bones. It's one of those games that you're just going to have to wait and see kind of a thing, right? Everything they promised you in this game for the most part is not even there. They're promising it along the road, and who knows how long that road is. As long as they get their microtransactions, I don't think they care how long that road is. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it. And if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.